Yo, what is up, folks? TrevCG here. In the aftermath of Arena Championship 8, the biggest and only real high-stakes Pioneer and Explorer tournament of the year. I was really excited going into the tournament, thinking about kind of like what the meta is going to look like, how much work people have done, if we're going to see anything new. However, the results were pretty conclusive. 6 of the top 8 decks were mono-red, 4 of the top 4 decks were mono-red, and it was won by the mono-red list here in the hands of Christopher Lundquist. It is, however, I would say, a bit of a different take on mono red to what you might expect to see on a ladder. So we'd like to delve into it and play some best of 3 ranked matches. So starting at 1 here, 4 Commander faces Kazakhstan, 4 Heartfight Hero. This is all very standard so far. Alongside that, we've got the 4 copies of Monstrous Rage, 4 copies of Burst Lightning, all very good. Monstrous Rage still just incredible cards. People thought this was going to maybe get banned in Standard. It has not been banned in Standard. And that's where things started to change a little bit. The other one drop we're playing is Grease Wrench Goblin, a 1 mana 2/1, which is like a nice aggressive stats, but has an exhaust ability on it for 3 mana to discard up to 2 cards and draw that many cards. It gets a counter. And this kind of like leads into kind of where this build of mono red is going. And it is going a bit later into the game. It is playing a bit of a bigger mono red build, and kind of even looking at the curve here with the Sunspire Links, the Bunker Giant, the full 4 Screaming Nemesis. You kind of see that at the top. But Research Goblin, like, not a terrible top deck at the end of the game. As long as you've got something to discard, you can like kind of filter some cards away. Hey, nice. So a little bit of value. Alongside these, we also have 2 copies of Reckless Rage. And the reason why I want to highlight this in particular is that there aren't loads of like great targets for it in the deck, but there are some amazing targets. It doesn't work with Heartfight Hero. It doesn't work with Research Goblin. I mean, it can work with Heartfight Hero with a bit of additional effort. It doesn't work with the Cabanos token. It doesn't work with Manifold Mouse. However, it is very good with Emerald Challenger, and in particular, it is incredible with Screaming Nemesis because you get to trigger the damage clause on it. And Reckless Rage with Screaming Nemesis, you can just kind of like 1 mana, like kill 2 creatures, wipe your opponent's board, really, which is really, really cool. It's a bit of a nice little 1-2 combo. We have the 4 mana full mice as mentioned. Excuse me. Words. With the 4 Emerald Challenger, like, hey, we've got the mouse package in here. We're still going to play this like really, really awesome, like very linear plan, but then combine that with going a little higher up the curve into the later game. There's 4 Screaming Nemesis, kind of like maximizes the combo. It kind of is really, really strong. 2 copies of Bone Crusher Giant, and then 4 copies of Sunspine Links. And this is like one of, I guess, I would say like main innovations, but of the mono red decks in the top 8, I believe every one of them was playing, or almost everyone was playing 4 copies of Sunspine Links in the main deck. Players can't gain life, really, really good. It has got like decent stats. Damage can't be prevented is excellent, and whenever this creature enters, it does damage to each player equal to the number of non-basic lands that player controls. You get that kind of price of progress style effect. And I should also say, you're playing like in this deck a reasonably large number of non-basic lands, I mean, for a monocolor deck. And so at some point in this video, I'm sure I'll dome myself and end up losing to my own Sunspire Links. But hopefully we can avoid that. We'll go through the lines and then the sideboard to play best of 3. 14 Mountains, 1 Rapid Nap Ruins, 4 Rock-Face Villages, and 3 Mutavaults. The 1 Rapid Ruins is interesting, and I think that is probably a shout out to the fact that people were maybe expecting more of these, and the mirror gets really, really messy if you have a bunch of non-basic lands in play. And so, hey. The Mutavaults are nice, like combo Manifold Mouse, so these are all cool. The sideboard, 1 Alpine Moon, bit of a shout out towards Lotus Field, see if anyone played that. Obviously, the other thing about this is a small field, like the tournament had 32, I believe, players. And so, like, if you kind of get an idea for what people might play, or kind of what you're expecting, you kind of narrow on a few different matchups, and maybe take the sideboard with a bit of a grain of salt. So the Alpine Moon, like Lotus Field, 4 Torch the Tower, see Mono Mirror, Gordon's more removal. Get rid of the Exile. The Exile removal is really good. 2 copies of Grafticus Cage is very efficient versus Phoenix, which was, I would say, surprisingly popular. But there was like a few people playing it. I didn't expect to see as many Phoenix decks, but there are quite a lot still. One notable thing is that this doesn't really help versus Greasefang, and Greasefang has seen a little bit of a resurgence recently. It's one of the decks I'll look to cover sometime soon, but we do have Dragonstorm literally around the corner, so it might take a little while. For Razorkin Needlehead, I thought was really, really interesting. Red for a 2/2. First strike during your turn. When an opponent draws a card, this creature does 1 damage to them. Those Phoenix decks I mentioned, anybody using Alchemist's talent, and trying to kind of like flip through cards, whether that be like the blue-red Lotus Field deck, or those, even like other control decks as well. Just ping, take a bunch of damage, please. And the other thing, like, yeah, it's a 2/2, it does so much removal, but you're really going to be taxing your opponent's removal with your early creatures anyway, so not much of a deal. Bone Crusher Giant can come in alongside these Torture Towers, and then 3 Urabrask forwards for more controlling matchups, just having like a resilient threat that just sits in play and just like, I'm going to make a token every turn, it's going to get bigger, I'm going to hit you with it, and eventually, hopefully, you'll die. But hey, that is the sideboard. I'm going to take this into some best of 3 ranked matches. If you're not already, please subscribe to the channel, I'd really, really appreciate that. And let's get into some games. Alright, first match. Opponent is on the play. Ooh. But hand looks decent. We'll go ahead and keep. Alright, I'll leave with this as I denies like the turn 1 like fatal push pet tempo and everything. Ooh, maybe Greasefang. That's another reason why these Reckless Rages are maybe more relevant. What do we hit? So we see Fable, yeah, we see Sky Sovereign here. That makes us kind of interesting. I want a Heart Fight here with a counter. That gives us the opportunity to Reckless Rage and keep the Heart Fight hero alive. I'm just going to pass here. We see the Greasefang. We know what's going on. We get to do our thing. Alright. Don't get too excited yet. We're not out of the woodwork. Okay, we have a Heart Fight hero. Let's see. We have monsters. We don't have a way to answer to the Greasefang, so we don't need to try. We need to make sure we can end. We need to try and set up to end the game next. I'll play this out, and I will. I'm just gonna go ahead and pump on the Heart Fight. 7 out of 10. Gives us a line to potentially find a lethal attack through Greasefang Angels as well. However, Sky Sovereign is particularly in that graveyard. So let's find out what's up. This is an easy decision for 2 reasons, I guess. 1, it commits to not having a blocker, and 2, it commits to taking 5. Feels relatively lethal. Yeah. Alright. Greasefang. Uh-oh. Sideboard not necessarily set up the best. The best landings are very awkward. I want to cut these. We get to add in the torches, which can deal 3 damage by sacrificing a artifact enchantment token. Which there are not very many yet. Oh, we are not super well set up for that. Interesting. And kind of similarly, we're not. Yeah, like Belmark, like Cage doesn't stop Belmark at all. So do we want to stay as is, or do we want to be like, oh, we're gonna board in the torches and try and like double up to take out? Why some? What does that look like? There's also the option when we like bring in the Razorkin Needleheads and they're just gonna try and like. That feels very scuffed. But the slow parts of the deck feel very slow here. And maybe do something wild. Or you find Nemesis is attacking the Angels well. These feel just like way too slow. I'm missing something big. In terms of other cards. Yeah, Natural Island might be able to do onto it. Not even Nemesis against the Greasefang, it's not. I'm kind of down for the like, let's just try and find our angle here. Like, okay, you have like Harvester Fable, you're gonna try and like loot through a bunch of cards to get to where you want to go. You can try and stop it. Hey. This hand has a Reckless Rage, but not a way with which to enable said Reckless Rage. We're on the draw, we got 4 lands. Kinda like a mulligan already. I'm gonna go to 6. And regret it, but I'm gonna keep 6 here. Yeah, okay, that's tough. Oh, we have the Reckless Stage, but we don't have a target, and it's very likely they can kill 1 creature. I'm gonna lead with the Grease Edge Goblin, just because we don't have a way to start maximizing this. This is the most damage. Also, like, attacks like straight up into Bloodtide Harvester, which this does not. Okay, Portable Hole. Make note of that. There's a Reckless Rage. I'll play both of these out. If they somehow have temporary lockdown, I'm gonna be very, 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 very. So the temporary lockdown does give me my goblin back. So play. Interesting. They're going for the big goblin. Or they have answers for everything. What's that here? How the Monstrous Rage, which doesn't really protect, but yeah, Vanishing Vessel get there. No Sarging. So they might have also, from the Griefang side, you maybe like bought out some stuff. Some combo pieces. And they've certainly brought it into a bunch of like more control, more like they're gonna try and play the not the beatdown. Like you definitely don't have a creature, right? No, you definitely don't have a creature. Well, we have an enchantment to sacrifice. But I don't. I'd rather have a creature in play than not have a creature in play. So if they like put some resources into getting a card like a vehicle in the graveyard, like a Grease Bank here. Oh, that makes this really easy, actually. Now we can bargain. Target. Sacrifice it. Alright, and we get to scry. Yeah, and go on the bottom. Okay. Saved our decision paralysis. It's not that there aren't any enchantments. You can sacrifice like monstrous roll token, monster roll, tokens and things like that. But yeah, not the greatest. We are out of resources, and we are 1 mana off being able to just. They have a vehicle to discard. They do now have a Arhelion in graveyard. All right, so here we are. I don't hate the choices we've made, but it's worth. So maybe it is worth. Sorry. Trying to keep in the other. Sure. Let's see if they have like burst versus whatever else. I think it's likely they have removal here, but I want to target this anyway. The monster traders are dead in our hand, and we're maybe going to turn into something. We've also not played a land yet, which means that we're like pretty likely to. Oh, they've only cast 1 thing. They've not bargained. We can protect. Alright. Well, take 9. And I'll play my mana. The problem being is that they could just have a Grease Fang. That's not a Grease Fang. That is bonus land for Burst Lightning though. Alright, what do we win? Play out the village. Okay. So if they get Delirium, we kill the FOMO. If not, we're kind of like, oh, we'll kill the Grease Fang. We're on 16, so we can take like a couple of hits off of this. The other problem we have is that if we draw into something, we're not. That's not good. Now would be like a very solid time to draw, like. Yeah, our Reckless Rage. That's what I was going to say. Again, they're on 7 though, so 2 Burst Lightnings also just kills them. They're on 14. They chose not to discard. You're trolling. Wait, they've not drawn. I don't know Delirium. I'm kind of on a... Let's just Burst Lightning you... I'm on a Lightning Helix angle. Let's like Burst Lightning you tap the top of the deck. I'm trying to work out if we need to do that now. So then we get a 2/2, 2, 4, 6. We get a 4. In theory, we have like one more turn left. Okay. This is gonna flip. Yeah, one more turn. I reach your rock there. I'll pass. Alright, now don't all of a sudden enable Delirium, yeah? Then you get to loot 2 more cards. Forge. Treasure, cast by Hylian. Here for that. I, for one, I'm in the hard cast by Hylian club. But, at this point, we're just like, okay. Here we are. You know, we drew another one. Alright. Game number 3. Screaming Nemesis is kind of good in the face of some of the stuff we saw. Some interesting stuff with going to Giant, but I don't want to do this. I'm kind of committed to teaming up our removal, and then I'm like, okay, well, if they've brought in extra on my removal, do you want to like cut the goblins? Do you want to trim like a bomb now? Going down 2 of these might be fine. Kind of don't mind this though. They were like very committed to these. They have brought in tons of spot removals. The Monstrous Rage it feels so bad to cut Monstrous Rage, but it's also protecting us a little bit from the removal. I'm gonna trim. It feels right to cut these. I'm gonna cut the Razor. The better immortals. The better immortals. You know what? I think I had it right. I'm totally a little on this like, oh, they want to draw cards. Let's just like ping them a bunch. But hey, we get to play. Ooh, I'm gonna keep it. I got a mulligan. I've been burnt. Alright, into a connector for 2. Right. Let me face it. Fear missing it. Exactly why not. They discard advantage. So we don't have like a real angle here. Like we can. I'm gonna do this. And then hopefully we get to untap with these creatures. At least one of them. This is interesting. I can definitely play tier removals still, so I'm gonna do right. Leave it to them. No, we should take the creatures out, right? Prowess. Not necessarily hugely worried about them gaining life. But, yeah. Fortunate rock face village flip. We did, like, always the one removal spell grease fang, which is the point. Harvester. Or maybe we should have just left the Screaming Nemesis in the entire time. Crazy. I'm still out of the gate. Yeah, I think I'm gonna skip it. Yeah, they shouldn't have. It was really strange they discovered the Vanishing Vest to me. I don't know what the rest of the hand looked like, but hey. Alright. Second match here. Yeah, and a narrow one with grease. It feels like, but like, we kind of covered. Here we have the Mono Mice, like Martin the Warrior Red Wall hand. Martin and Ariel and Matty May. Matthias. Sacrifice. Interesting. Do they have a cat? They have the cat. Do they have cat and do they have Fatal Push? That'd be open. Ooh, Castle makes it feel like the black-green version. Not necessarily true, but like reasonably likely. We will play to our like highest spike of hand here. We'll select it, right? As you do. Stable. Oh, we did draw land. Got a little better version. I mean, yeah. My plan here is to just first lining this, carry on with our Art of a Hero play. Manifold Mouse, like, being able to give the trample to be able to push through any, like, Cauldron Familiar wall. Also, really good. These cards are good, guys. These cards are good. Yeah. Oh, I didn't mention Methuselah. Do they have a one-drop creature to pair with the... Yeah, okay. Let's keep it up. Yeah, fair. Okay, we want these Grafter's Cages, absolutely. We want the Torture Towers, absolutely. The other things... Guide's interesting. They'll be like Harvester, potentially. Not low. But once we have the... Problem is our hands where it doesn't do anything. Then, like, the link says players can't gain life. Nemesis being a 3/3 is really nice versus Mayhem Devil in particular. Excuse me. I'm like, do we need as much like normal spot removal? Also, the and this being 4 mana is thing. Okay. Go out on the Bunker Giants. The Reckless Rage again. Mayhem Devil Killer. We don't need like a plethora of early removal, but we do want to be able to snipe off the cats things when necessary. Most things like can team up, but I don't want to have like 2 more cards. I think I do take the links away, even though they have the damage can't be prevented. We still like lose to the cat combo. And yeah. This is setting me slightly, because it gets stonewalled by Familiar. But Reckless Rage, these other things. Let's play with it and see how we feel. It might be that we want like the Bunker Giants. We've not seen that much. They really even infer which of a couple of different options they're playing. Yeah, we like this. I'm actually really excited to play with goblins. Not necessarily specifically this guy, but there's some goblins in Tarkir. The 1 mana one, really good. We do have like the hand. They are playing like, so we will lead Heartfire here and try and Manifold Mouse, and try and ride that to victory again. But do some red mage things. They should have already set hand. They did mulligan. Multiple. Yeah. This is a weird one. Monsters raging to get a token. They had to ping something, but not anything relevant. I'll throw. Double strike, yeah. Yeah, looking at the visual, like we kept 5. Yeah. This is their turn 4. Yeah, it's rough. Do that. We're about to. Alright, only 2 matches, but that is the red deck. This is a really interesting build, I think. I'm still not like totally on like Reach Treasure Goblins, but you've only seen a couple of different matchups here. I'm gonna play a bunch more with it. Obviously, Tarkir Dragonstorm does come out in a couple of weeks' time. However, I would say that it's probably not these are gonna be words I'm gonna take back. That might be forced to eat later. I don't think it's gonna have much of an impact on Pioneer Explorer. The format seems very, very solved. Whether that's like people just like honing in on the decks that exist and you're like, oh, we'll find the best versions of these, rather than try and explore any new space. Like I said, there was one player that played Green White Hammer. I appreciated that. Rooting for you. But yeah. Mono Red seems to be the absolute best deck in the form. I don't like to work in absolutes, but it is, like, on the face of it, the best deck. And it's certainly the best deck out of that tournament in particular. And it's not going to get, well, I talk about like how there's new cards getting injected to the format. There's no like big tournaments to prepare for. It's just be like, okay, let's see how things go with like daily results and things. But there's not necessarily going to be any movement in the format. But we should hopefully get something interesting, exciting. We have like Tarkir coming out in 2 weeks, and then like in less than a month, basically, we have Final Fantasy as well. Should be really, really exciting. This is the first video I made in a little while. I'm going to be, hopefully, back in the mix, making some stuff. Like I talked about doing, I want to cover Greasefang, because that's some new developments, but Tarkir is out, like, pre-releasing this weekend as we speak. Again, I'm recording this on April 1st, hence the April Fool's Guffs cards. But so there's going to be a bunch of other new stuff. I'm going to mess around with some Dragon stuff. We'll check out the Dragon mocks. There's some, hopefully some, I had a pile of decks I wanted to talk about. I've just been really, really busy and haven't been able to make videos and stuff. So, hey, hopefully you still with me. If you enjoyed the video, please do like, subscribe, all that stuff. If you got anything you want to see or like you're interested in from the challenge, like, I'm probably gonna have a look at a couple of the other decks. I was really excited. Again, I was really excited for the championship and was like, oh, hopefully there'll be something interesting. And I would say that this build is this build of Mono Red is a little bit different. It's like, oh, okay, this is neat. But there's been no like real big like shift, I don't think. Anything kind of new discovered, kind of what I was excited for, hopefully. But hey, you can hope. And there's Dragonstorm around the corner, and Final Fantasy, and Spider-Man, and the Babylon 5 set, and that stuff. So hey, again, thanks for watching. Peace, soup. Have a great day.